So yeah, I see people are popping into the chat saying hello, which is really great. And then I just want to share one fun fact before we get into the webinar today, or actually a couple of things. So one, we have hosted 31 webinars this year, which is really exciting with nearly 35,000 registrants. So we have managed to see, and I think a lot of you have been at the webinars before. So it's really exciting to have so many of our community members join us for webinars throughout the year. And this is the most number of webinars we've hosted since we started hosting them back in 2019. So thank you everyone for joining, and thank you to our team for helping to host these. And then just a quick shout out that our team is going to be randomly selecting some of today's participants to receive some fun Jane swag. So make sure to keep an eye on your inbox after the webinar today, and someone from our team might be reaching out to let you know you're one of our lucky winners. And that is all of my housekeeping. So I usually try and take about 3 minutes, which I did. So with that, I am going to pass it off to Derek and Chris for our final webinar of the year.
Awesome. Perfect. Thanks, Destin. So yeah, really excited for our session today. I think we're going to all learn a bunch of really great stuff. I love seeing everyone pop their information in the chat here. There is kind of a fun thing we did in one of our last meetings. I'm wondering if everyone could also perhaps post a safe for work but unpopular opinion. I think I'm stealing your idea, Destin, but this was just like a lot of really neat stuff. So my actually unpopular opinion for right now is, well, I'm done all my Christmas shopping and I'm used to, being rushed at the end of the year. So I'm almost left with, this sort of false sense of anxiety that I don't really need to have. And I know that's going to cause some seriously overspending in the next month or so, because I've got a lot of time between now and Christmas. How about you, Chris?
Uh, Hi, my name is Chris. I've been with Jane near to a year now, and I've been in technology most of my life. So I have worked with retail stores across Canada before being at Jane and helping them with their retail technology as well as specialized reporting. So yeah, I'll be tackling the reports side of things here, and I'm super excited to walk through that with you. And my controversial work safe idea. I hope no one loses respect for me. I love talking about food, and I've wavered back and forth on this a couple times, but the idea that a hot dog is a sandwich, um, I'm sure I can be convinced otherwise very easily. But yeah, it's you've got something there with bread on either side. Is that a sandwich? I don't know.
See, my argument against it being a sandwich is I once heard Martha Stewart say flat out, it's not a sandwich, it's a hot dog. So I'm going to go with Martha on this one and say, hey, there's a couple of great ones in here. Winter is better than summer. Recently, summer's been really hot, so I'm actually going to say winter's actually not too bad. Christmas music starts in November. Yeah, I get that. I want to push that December 1st. I don't understand decaf coffee. I hear you. Maybe you just like how it tastes. These are all great. Okay, with green Christmas, yeah, you know what? It's easier to get around. Then you can go to all the family dinners and you don't have to worry about trying to get somewhere. Okay, great. So family is the ultimate F word. That's great. Yeah, and a lot of family times coming up soon. Okay, let me share my screen here. I just have to find my right one. Okay, perfect. Great. Okay, so everyone can see my screen, I'm going to assume, and I'll get screamed at if you don't. So quick little introduction for myself here. My name's Derek. I'm on the US team as a product specialist. I've been with Jane for about 2.5 years. And yeah, I've learned a lot about clinic life and of course, EHRs, insurance billing, and all that fun stuff that we deal with every single day. Chris, you already did your introduction, so that's fantastic. Did you have anything else you wanted to say before I get started?
I'm excited for the things you're going to talk about, which we'll see in a
Perfect.
second. I don't want to ruin it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't ruin any of my surprises. Okay, perfect. So we're going to go over some scheduling things. So waitlist notifications, setting up your shifts for 2024, and of course, some statutory holiday things. Chris is going to cover a lot of our reporting things. He's got a really great mind for that kind of stuff. So we'll go over how we can generate some more income with online gift cards, but as well as all the kind of reports you're going to want to have for the end of the year there. Okay, so wait lists. Waitlist notifications is a great way for clients to put themselves on the list, a great way for them to um, basically put themselves in line for that next available appointment. It's also going to hold those spaces for those people and then open up that spot again once it's available. Now, I'm just going to switch my tab here. And here, 1 second. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so we're taking a look at the schedule. Now I'm going to show you how we set up the wait list first. So you're going to go to settings in the top blue bar here. And when we scroll down on the left-hand side, we're going to find wait lists. We're going to click in here. There's a couple of different settings you're going to want to take a look at. Obviously, allowing patients to add themselves to the wait list, enabling the notifications. We can also set how long Jane is going to hold that exclusive access for. So it will allow for some administrative buffer time. And then, let's say we're going to give patients an hour from getting that notification to actually making the booking there. And we can also automate these notifications. So Jane will actually take care of this, when you're not logged into the system. So great if you're taking some time off over the holiday season. You don't necessarily need to worry about filling in those extra gaps that show up if people cancel. So I do have an example of it going on right here. So there was a cancellation at 12:30. It was a half-hour spot here. Now to check to see who we have on the wait list, you're going to notice a bunch of numbers beside the names here. If I select this one here, I'll notice that Carla, she was looking for a 60-minute visit, and then I had Derek here. He was looking for a 30-minute. So Jane scanned the space, found that was a 30-minute spot was available. So Jane's going to send out a notification to Derek here, and actually we click into this. Jane's already sent out that notification, and Derek has another 18 minutes before that space is going to get released. Of course, you do have the option to release it manually or send the notifications out manually, but it's nice that Jane sort of takes care of that stuff for us. So once that gets released, that just gets reopened and it just acts like sort of a normal, regular open spot there. I'll show you what it looks like in action here. So let's say Anne popped in and she canceled her appointment. Once we hop in here, marker is canceled. Jane's going to, again, scan that wait list, see who fits into that time slot and what kind of service is going to fit in there. And then Jane's going to hold this for the administrative time plus any sort of wait time there, and then send out the notification to all these patients. Then they'll all have access. They will get either an email notification or text message notification, and they'll be able to hop into the system and then just book their appointment there. Let's see here. Oh, you can also check out any of the guides. So I would recommend clicking this Need Help button. And if I was just to search for waitlist, it's going to show up all the different guides that I can take a look at. And then I can just read through these through here. It's a great little resource. Just click that kind of Need Help button and you can search and ask any questions that you need there. Great. Let's hop back to my slideshow here. So next thing we're going to look at is your schedule. So we can chat about extending the shifts into 2024, updating your clients of any hour changes, and then of course, scheduling next year's holidays, as well as any vacation time if anyone's put that in yet. Just gonna hop out of here. And the first thing I'm gonna wanna take a look at is extending our shifts. Let me just slide this little bar out of my way here. Perfect. So we've got him scheduled all the way up till the end of December. And I want to extend these same shifts. So he's not really going to make any changes to his hours. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click this drop down for the shifts. Let's remove that box there too. And I'm going to manage shifts. So this is going to show me all the shifts that currently are set up. And it's letting me know how far the shifts have been applied. So I just want to change this. And we're going to go all the way out to 2024. And I'm just going to go right to the end. Also a great opportunity if you are making any changes to their schedule, you can certainly do that here as well. Once you're done, you're going to click Apply Shift Schedule. Jane's going to go through, let you know how many shifts are going to be created, and it'll just take a few moments. then once that get processed, Jane creates all those shifts there for us. So now I can go through, and any future shifts will just automatically be applied in here. Also a good time to block out any time for holidays. So we are closed on December 25th for the holidays, but I also need to block out January 1st. So I'm going to click the break button, and then I'm just going to click and drag and just put that over top of whichever shift I need to block out. I can put a little note in here, lets everyone know why they're going to be off. And I would hop in and do that for any stat days throughout the year. You can even just do a quick Google search and find all the stat holidays that are coming up for your area. And I can just go through the system and make sure I get everything blocked out there for us. Great. Perfect. So of course, if you are going to make any changes, you're going to want to let your patients know, just sort of notify them of any updates. What I'm going to do for that is I'm going to actually head to settings, and I'm going to go to the language section. Now we can customize certain bits within Jane, and I can use the language section for that. So I'm actually going to use, I've updated the reminder email and the thank you for booking email. There's a little details section. And then what I've done is I've just popped in a please note, we are closed from December 25th to January 1st. And I've also popped that into the, sorry, thank you for booking and the reminder emails. If I hop into my emails, I'll show you what that's going to look like. Thank you for booking there. So they'll still get their normal information. Thank you for booking, tell them where they are, but then they're going to have this additional text that shows up in there. And I've used some little markdown to sort of bold that and make it a little bit larger. So it's going to be pretty obvious to patients, just to let them know that we're going to be closed for a certain period of time, or, you know, maybe you're adding some hours. So you're going to be open Saturdays in the new year, or something like that. Good place to pop those details. Another spot that I would also put in the language section, there is a notice/message for online booking pages. So I just copied that other note, and I'm just going to pop that in there. And then let's just make a quick update to that. I want all my little markdown tools in there. Perfect. And I'm going to save this. So this note is going to show up on the online booking page. If I go to online booking, that's going to show up right up on the top there. It's going to show up on the top of any of the pages as well. So no matter where I go, it's always going to be right up at the top of the online booking page. So a good spot, again, just to let patients know that there are going to be some changes to your hours or any days that you may be closed. Okay, great. Let me just make sure. So we've got that. We've got our shifts. We've got scheduling our vacation time. Okay, there's just one more thing that I did want to show everyone. It's not really related to scheduling or anything that I've been chatting about, but I did see it as a pretty popular question when it came through on some of the questions that were posted. And that's how to reset your insurance policies for the new year. Now, I'd recommend doing this the beginning of the new year, so January 1st, January 2nd. What you can do is if you go to the billing tab, scroll right to the very bottom here, you're going to find all of your insurers. Let's say we'll start with Aetna. When I click in here, it's going to show me all the purchases, any payments, but also all the insurance policies that are currently set up under Aetna. What I can do is I'm going to scroll to the bottom. I want to make sure to load every policy. And I think there's one more. Great. So those are all my policies that are currently set up under Aetna. And I want to reset these for 2024. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of them. That's going to light up this button here. So I've got 76 selected. And when I click on that, I can then reset all of these policies for 2024. What that's going to do, that's going to close all the current policies, and it's going to reopen brand new ones for 2024. Now, you can also do this on a patient by patient level. If maybe you don't catch it in time, you maybe need to make a couple of changes, there is a way you can do it just through someone's profile. If I go to, let's say, Rachel here, and I hop in her billing tab, under insurance policies, I'll be able to do the same thing. I can select all three, And then I've got that same selected button that lets me reset all of those policies for 2024. So basically what it does is it marks all these as closed and then opens up brand new ones with all the same information so that you can then just start up and apply all of 2024's visits into these policies here. Great. Okay, so I think that's all the scheduling bits and pieces that I have for us today. I'm going to pass the screen share over to Chris here. So let me just stop my share and then you can take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Derek.
Perfect.
I love that walkthrough of the scheduling and closing out your insurance policies. Those are super helpful.
And it's just so fast. It just does it all for you. You don't have to do any copying and pasting. So it's great.
Yeah, and fast it can be of the essence, especially this time.
Yes,
There's lots going on.
especially at the end of the year when you want to get it done.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just gonna bring up my screen share here.
Mhm.
Okay, and hopefully you can see the reports to review here. So thank you everyone for sticking around for the report side. I hope this is going to be helpful. My goal here is that we're going to make you popular with your accountant and or bookkeeper. And if you don't mind, before we get started, so we are going to look at the inventory report, accounts receivable, sales billing, and transaction. There'll be a couple bonus reports and a couple extra tips connected in there. I did want to quickly remind everyone, and I was just scrolling through my Instagram last night, and we're on day 5 of our 12 days of giveaways. And so if you have a moment, that can be a great way to get some really helpful prizes. I think yesterday was one for personalized setup. So yeah, if you check out Instagram, and I think it's in the stories, you'll be able to see which day of giveaways that we're on. So
Cool.
okay, before I jump to reporting, I want to take a little diversion to gift cards, because we did have some reports about how do I track, how do I track gift vouchers, and so we do have a tool to be able to do that. So let me just get across here. Okay, so within Jane, we do have that capability to record gift cards, and so if it isn't currently turned on, I wanted to just kind of walk over there. And so if we go up to settings, and then we're going to scroll way down to the bottom section and billing settings. In billing settings, if we scroll down just a little ways, we'll have a checkbox for gift cards being enabled in person, and then a checkbox for enabling gift cards for online sales. So that's something that's a little bit newer. It does require that you have Jane Payments set up to allow for that transaction, but this can be a great way to increase some revenue during a time of giving. So a couple other little things is we do have load limits for both in person, in clinic gift cards, as well as online. So those can be important to set just to make sure that everything is, we have the right values there. Now, of course, we always want to click down the bottom right corner to save that billing information. And what I'd like to do is just scrolling over here to show you what that looks like in the online booking page. And so if we scroll down, we can buy a gift card right here, and that will allow us to sign in to buy the gift card. Or if we go to the My Account section and scroll down towards the bottom, another place where we can purchase gift cards. So that can be a really great way to increase that revenue at this time of year. Okay, so are you ready?
I think we're ready.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, at this time of year, because we're talking reporting, sometimes it's year end, it's the calendar year end, or it's also your fiscal year end. So if everyone wouldn't mind sharing in chat, is this your fiscal year end, or is it just a calendar year end?
We got a lot of fiscals. We got a bunch of both, couple calendar, both,
Okay.
fiscal, both, calendar. So a healthy mix.
Okay. Well, it's good to see. I mean, I think reports have great insights, whether it's your year end or calendar year end or your fiscal year end. So hopefully, whichever camp you're in, this will be helpful for both. So this report is for those of you that do sell products. Now, I will have a couple tips in here that I think can be used across Jane. So yeah, hopefully there'll be a little something for everyone. So the inventory summary report, if we go to reports, and then on down to the bottom of our billing section is our inventory report. So this is a great report to run on the last day that you're open. And that's because it's a live report. It shows our product names and then our on-hand quantities for those products. So this report can be exported if we click in this the three dots, and this is common in many reports in Jane. I highly encourage you, as you're looking at reports, this can be a great way to get a little further insight. Now, we only have so much screen space, so we kind of respect the fact that we can't put everything on the screen, but in exporting the reports, that will give us additional information and even give us insights in how did we come to this calculation. So I'd highly encourage that export side of things. Now, with exporting, we can see here, oh, I have some negatives, and that can happen, right? As we sell through, which hopefully that is the case, we're selling through. So that's something that can be really helpful. And that's my first kind of non-reports tip, is if you are on a Mac and we see this Jane blue color right here, anything with a Jane blue color will open up more information. And so my tip is more so on the navigation side of things. So if we command click, on a Mac or control click on a PC, that'll actually open up that specific item. And so that will take us directly to that item, and we can go and edit the product. So if we're looking and seeing, oh, you know what, I have a negative, this can be a great time to get that inventory completed. And so we can go into our account, and then we have a reason that we can input for that change as well. This can be really important if we are handing this off to our accountant to make sure we've got the right details. So if I update that product, now my inventory has been updated, and I can close that tab and go back. Whoops. Go back to my report. Now, this is another little tip when it comes to reports. If we're doing any changes with the reports, we may want to load a fresh copy, and that will go and grab the most recent information for that report. So as we're updating, we can also make sure that our reports get updated. So I did want to show you just a really quick export of the report. So if I was to go and click export to Excel, the great thing here, exporting to Excel or CSV, it allows us to use numbers if you're on a Mac, Google Sheets if you're a Google Sheet fan, or Excel, all of the above. So I'm just going to toggle on over. I did a little pre-work here. I hope you don't mind. And this is where, if we're handing this to our accountant, if we wanted to do any work or just to see ourselves, what's our cost of goods on hand? We do have the cost that's been exported, and we also have our quantities. And so if we multiply the two together, then we can get our total cost of goods for each item and have a nice little tally at the bottom there as well. So hopefully that can be a helpful one when it comes to the actual calculation side of things. And we can see in this report, as I was mentioning, we have quite a few more fields that are available. And I think this is a great way to look at that same information at different angles. Now, one little note that's really important. As you're running these, not every staff member might be able to run these reports. So you do need admin all billing or full access to have access to, I think, quite a few of these reports. So that's just something to keep in mind. Now, I do want to show one other little tip. I promised some extra tips, and that is we're going to use that same keyboard. So on our keyboard, if we hit Command and the F key as in find, or on a Mac, or Control and F, we might be looking through a report, and sometimes your eyes get blurry and it's hard to find things. Just as Derek was going through the language section, this is my favorite tool to use there. That just brings up our find box. And so, perhaps I'm looking for the knee brace and I just I'm looking at it, but I can't see it, I can type in knee, and then I'll be able to just jump right to that particular item. So that's another little tip that I find really helpful as we're working through reports. So now we're getting serious in talking about in talking about accounting. So with reports, we do understand the fact that there's a couple different accounting methods. We can have cash collected as well as invoiced accrual accounting method. So cash collected is how much revenue or cash have I collected in the time frame. Invoiced is how much have I invoiced in the time frame. Those two things can be a little bit different. And so if you're unsure which method you're using or your accountant's using, this is a great time to check on that, and specific in light of what reports they may want to be seeing as well. So we've done a lot of talking here. So this is foreshadowing as we move into more financial reports. If you're okay with being bold and in the chat, when I say accounting, is that bringing a smile to your face, or does it send a little shudder down your spine?
Okay, shudder. So Jane and I have the same. Yep, shudder, shudder, both. Love it. Good.
Both.
No smile. Shudder, shudder, ugh. A tingle. Okay, shudder, both. Good. Okay, yep. You know what? Shudder at the beginning, but I find once I can apply like all this math stuff to something that actually is like a physical object or makes sense to me, then it's so much easier. In school, it was always like A plus B equals W, and I didn't get that. Whereas this makes sense.
Yeah, and I like reports just because it's showing me what's going on in one place, hopefully. So yeah, I used to be more of a shudder, but in talking with more accountants, it's less of a shudder.
Awesome. Yeah.
So what we'll do, and thanks everybody for sharing there, I appreciate that. What we're going to look at next is our accounts receivable report. I think what a great feeling to have your balances tied up at the end of the year. And so if I go to reports and then on down to accounts receivable, so it's just 4 down in my billing section, this report is the best place to see any outstanding amount owing to the clinic. And so the amounts owing can be from companies, insurance companies. It can be for individuals as well. We can see the total amount owing, the number of days that it's been owing, and ones that are a little bit further along, perhaps those ones we can reach out to folks to look at that, as well as perhaps there are some write-offs. So in this particular report, we can see that we have that Jane Blue link again. And so if we were to use the command click, now I'm going to use the search here because I have a specific, let's say Thomas. I've talked to Thomas, and perhaps I need to go and have a look at Thomas's account. So if I click, that will open up my new tab and take me directly to the account. Within this section, I've got a few different options that are available. So I do have the ability to send a pay balance email, and that can be a great way, a nice little prompt to say, in this case, you have $42 owing. Please look after that balance. Now, with the pay balance, to actually have it paid, we do need Jane payments to be activated, and so then they're able to just enter a credit card and and make that payment. This section, we do also have the ability to create statements. And so we don't necessarily need to be in the accounts receivable area, but we can go through and create a statement for them. In creating the statement, that will open up another little box, and we're able to filter for specific timeframes, or do I want insurance only? So that's another helpful little option here. And in the case, and I hope this is not the case for too many folks, but what if we need to write something off? So we have another Jane Blue link here. If I click on that link, that's going to open up specifics about that invoice. And right down next to the save and cancel buttons, I have this little arrow, and that will allow me to write off that balance. So again, hopefully that's not too many of these for you, but when I do select write off, it's going to write off that balance and give me a little bit of a note automatically. So then that's just finished and completed for you. So we just talked about write-offs. How do we report on write-offs? That'll be our next. And I've got a couple links here. Here we are. I've got the right one now. So if we do have write-offs, then we might want to look at a write-off report. Another thing that can be really helpful to hand to our accountants. And so, like we just saw in the inventory report, if I've just created a write-off, I might need to load a fresh copy of that particular report. And this will give us a nice summary and show us the individuals as well as the total down at the very bottom here for our write-offs this year. And this is one of the maybe bonus reports, and that's a neighbor to the write-offs report and the adjustments report. And so with the adjustments report, this will show me anything that any reductions that I've taken in the year. And this can be from promotions or different adjustments and sliding scales. And this can give us a total of those write-offs, a summary towards the top here of all the write-offs. But also, as I move down, we can look at individuals. So that can be helpful to see, is one person perhaps giving discounts more than another? So, Derek, I've been talking a little bit here. I'm not sure.
Yes.
I know we have some questions that came in early, but is there anything that I might be able to jump into? Any questions that are sitting there?
Yeah. So one of the things that did come up in regards to reports, we had a few people asking if we could import to QuickBooks. Is something like that possible in Jane here?
Yes, and yes. So it is possible to import to QuickBooks, but it's basically an export of our reports and then an import into QuickBooks. So we don't have a link like with one of the integrations, but there is and really some helpful articles. If we were to go up to the need help here and to type in QuickBooks or even accounting, this will show us some really helpful links. So there's importing sales to QuickBooks. There's accounting software in Jane. I know that one's really helpful. And so it is possible to run specific reports. And it does depend a little bit on the level of detail that you would like to be importing. I would say, and this is great foreshadowing, so thank you. There is a sales report. This will show all of the invoices generated. There's the transactions report as well. We're going to be looking at both of these, so that's good. So those reports, if we click up top here, we can then export that to CSV. There's a couple of revisions that are required to make sure that QuickBooks will consume them. There's a couple fields that QuickBooks needs, but yeah, there is definitely a process to be able to do that. I might not, just out of respect of time, perhaps later, but yeah, it is possible to do that. And of course, our team is happy to walk through that with you in more detail. Yeah.
Perfect. Do I have a way to give our accountants access to these reports?
Yes, there's a couple ways. And so what we can do is now, and this is totally up to you and kind of your trust level with the accountant or with your accountant, is you could create them as a new staff member. And so, we can have first name, last name, email, just like a regular staff. And then in permissions and commissions, we would need to have administrative staff, all billing or full access. So that's, something quite often I've heard that, a non-disclosure agreement might be something to have signed. And we would, remove access to charts and shifts, that kind of thing. The other way that we could set it up, and because Jane is secure, we've got the compliance as far as HIPAA and PIPEDA compliance. Whoops, gonna leave that. So I can create my accountant as a patient or a client. And then if I was to go into the charts area, and I've just done a couple uploads here, I can basically go in and do a file upload. And so I can add these different report files, these CSV files. So that's something that can work as well. And so we're not transferring it through email. Someone has to sign in to be able to click on those and download them. So that can be another approach to things.
Yeah, that's great because that creates that secure link for them too. I like that. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah. Now, one thing I will mention, I tend to do this every time I'm talking with someone on support. There is the need help question mark up top here. This is a great place to find guides, really helpful, really easily, I should say. But also this has our phone, our live chat, and email all right in the same place. I don't like remembering things. I like the computer to do it, and this is the place that we can access that. So that can be a really helpful way if you do have questions to connect with us directly.
Cool.
Okay. So I think what we want to look at is, I know taxes is something that we want to have a look at. So what I'm going to do is just jump on over to our sales report. And so with our sales report, that's in reports and right near the top. So the thing I really like about the sales report is it does give us the accrual accounting method, how much has been invoiced in this time frame. And it also gives you, as we scroll down, a comprehensive list of all the sales during that period. And it can be helpful in identifying what's been paid. So we do have the amount collected from the same time frame, and the amount collected as of today for those invoices. So that can be really helpful in investigating and showing what do I have for sales. At the very top here as well, this can be helpful, I think, in looking at things at different angles, the filters. And each report can have a different amount and different things we can filter for. With our sales report, we could filter for specific disciplines if we want to compare disciplines. We have different income categories that we can compare. Of course, time frames. So I think for me, I really like diving in and discovering with the use of those filters, some of those different areas as far as the sales go. Now, get ready for it. This might be the favorite report of many accountants, and that is the summary report. And so the summary is a great combination of several reports in Jane. It'll show us the total amount invoiced. It'll show us the total amount applied, and so like cash received for that time frame. And so this can have everything in one place. You know, if we have different locations, that's listed there as well. As we scroll down as well, we can see different breakouts of our different income categories. And what's really important, if we scroll way down, and there's a lot of information here, but I did want to point out tax. And so all of our taxes will be broken out. So how much tax have I invoiced and how much have I collected or applied to those invoices? So that can be, I think, especially during tax season, knowing what you have for taxes is a really important thing. Now, one thing I do want to point out with this particular report, and as we look towards the top, my invoiced amount and my applied amount are different. And that can be really common, and that's normal. So, you know, if you do have questions, again, please connect with us in support. But I might invoice and then I connect with insurance. And so insurance doesn't pay me immediately for that particular invoice. I might have packages that are outstanding. So these two values can and are often different. So if you do see that, that is normal. Don't panic. So that was those two reports are I think a lot of detail. Derek, I don't know if there's any other questions, or I know we had a couple we were trying to work through as far as from ones that were sent in ahead of time as well.
We were looking or sort of chatting about like the trending or like health of the business, like how well did we do over the last year? Is there reports that can help us with that?
Yes. And you know what? Super helpful. I was going to be talking about the transaction reports and daily transactions. So that's a great lead in there. So if I go to my daily transactions report, and so that's in reports and a little ways down inside billing, kind of right in the middle section here. I think the daily transactions report, really what I'm most interested in as far as trending goes is the very bottom. And so I can see down here, how many transactions have I had within this time frame and what was the total value for those transactions. Now, this can only be the daily transactions. 31 days is the time frame, so that's works really well by month. And I did do a little bit of a preview here, so I'm just going to zip on over to that particular report. And so this is where I can see the trending side of it being really helpful. We can go by month, and then we can show number of transactions, but also the total revenue during that time frame. And I think looking at this, we can see trends as far as month over month. But if we wanted to even take that further, we could extend this and do year over year as well. And so then we can see that trend as far as the transactions. Sometimes that's connected to visits, products are mixed in there, but also the total revenue. So I think that one can be helpful. The other one that I think is a really helpful tool is the patient retention report. And so that's just at the very top of reports. And as we look here, now I've got from the 1st to the 31st, of course, we can extend this beyond, but this will show us how many new patients have come to us, how many returning patients, how many total patients, how many total visits, what percentage of folks are returning. And so we can see that by the clinic. We also can scroll down a little further, and we can see that for each of our staff members as well. And so I think this can be a great time of year to look through and to see some of those trends. And it can then spur us on to perhaps look at other reports to say, okay, well, our visits are up or they're down, and how can we maximize that revenue? So those are a couple that I hope will be helpful. I hope will be hopeful. Yeah.
Yes. I do. There's a quick so there's a couple questions about how you got that clinic trend, how you set up that the report there. Yeah, where you sort of took that number and then added it to your spreadsheet there.
Yeah, so you can, if you wish, we could export this out. So I can export that to Excel. We might have 12 different sheets with a lot of days on there. So what I did was I basically just said, okay, I want to know this number and I want to know this number. So I double clicked on there, Control C and Control V, or we can right click to copy. And then I just went straight to the spreadsheet and pasted it right in there. So kind of rudimentary in the approach, but yeah, definitely it was copy and paste these in. And then, I just use the kind of the fill down methodology for, getting those months in there as well. So this is numbers. Excel would probably be the same. I think Google Sheets is the same as well. So hopefully that answered the question as far as the approach.
Yep, I think so. That's great.
Okay, perfect. So I kind of used up a little bit of the transaction report there. So I did, if it's okay, I want to just work through here really quickly because I want to point one thing out. I think the daily transactions report, this one's a great one for accountants. It gives us one succinct, one line, shows us transactions, all the different tender types, as well as any Jane payments that have been transaction fees. And so I do have one, but I can see down here what those fees would be. So all of these different ways that we've gathered revenue can be listed in one place. And again, with this one, if we click here, we can export that to Excel to make it nice and easy on the sharing side of things. And then if we look at the transactions report, just to finish, the transactions report can be really great as well. It's going to show us a higher level of detail. So it will give us a nice summary at the top for that time frame, but also it'll give us very detailed information about these numbers. How are they made up? We scroll down and right below there will show us all of those details. And if you don't mind, I'd like to finish with one last little tip. I find this helpful because you might not use every report often. And so in the top right corner, learn more about this report, I love. So if we click on here or command click, that will take us directly to that Jane guide. And quite often we've got a lot of great videos, but also this will help us kind of see through and see, oh, okay, well, that's where the information is coming from. That's how it all connects. So that's my my one big recommendation as far as when you're in a report and wondering, well, what is this about? I think that one can be really helpful. And that is concludes my reports. And I hope that was helpful. But yeah, I would love to pass it over. I think Destin, you have some details for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. That was so great, so helpful. We've had lots of excellent questions in the chat. So I know we've gone a little bit long, but just had a few but great information. I'm so glad we did. Such great information. So I just have a few little things I wanted to share to wrap up, and this will also give the team time to finish answering any questions that they have going on in the chat and the Q&A. And then Derek and Chris, if there's anything that you wanted to jump in there and answer as well. But I'm just going to quickly share my screen and just share a few little points as we're wrapping up. So just wanted to talk a little bit about the Jane community. I'm sure a lot of you know about it because you're here at the webinar today. But this really is your one-stop shop for peer support, helpful resources, and more. So I just wanted to kind of give a little bit of a shout out, and hopefully members of the Jane team can share some links to the things I'm mentioning as I go along. So first, I wanted to mention our overall Jane community group. We have almost 13,000 members in that group, which is phenomenal. They're across disciplines, across geographies. And this is a really great place for you to come when you need some peer support and help. It's a really incredible group, so helpful. And to ask any questions that you might have, we've got obviously people that have been there that have been using Jane for years and years and years, and people that are just starting out in their journey. Members of the Jane team are in there as well. But it's really your place to connect with other community members and get some of those more detailed questions asked about your specific type of practice or discipline or things that you might need to know. So I highly recommend you join. I assume someone from the Jane team has put a link to the chat in the chat already, so that's so great. And then the second one, we recently launched a community specifically for our US community members that do insurance billing. And so we have about 550 members in there now, as well as some biller friends. There are a couple, I think, in the session today in the chat. I saw Courtney in there, and she's one of our biller friends that are in that group as well. So this is a really great place to come and talk all things insurance. You can obviously chat about it in the other community, but this community is just specifically for that. So it's a really great place to have those detailed conversations and ask those questions. You also get access to a community curated biller list, which has billers that we've connected with in our community that are recommended by our community members to one another. So it's a really great place to access that resource. And then last but not least, I wanted to let everyone know that Jane is on YouTube. So we put all of our webinar videos on YouTube. So you'll also be able to find this recording there on YouTube as well. So we've got all of our webinar recordings and replays. We've got Jane tutorials and product demos. We've got our community office hour recordings that happen in our community group and more. We have over 100 videos uploaded and we're always adding more. So it really is a great place to get all of your Jane content in one place. So that is just my 3 community shout outs. You can use these QR codes if you also want to scan for them. And as I said, I'm pretty sure the team has posted the links in the chat. We will also be including links to all of that in the email that will be coming out later today or tomorrow.